Okay, we're live. Okay, guys. Um, yeah. So, thank you for tuning in. I'm starting this week off with a couple interviews. My first interview is with my guest to my right. Her name is Gigi Monet. I know next to nothing about her, so I'm going to let her introduce herself really quickly. So, yeah, Gigi, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Gigi. I'm from San Diego, and I'm 24 years old. Yeah.
Okay, great, great, awesome. Um, let's see what else I can say. So yeah. So obviously, as is the case with a lot of my guests, so Gigi, I first contact you on Facebook,
hmm
um, and so obviously this is the first time that we're ever talking to each other. So obviously, this being the AMBW channel, we focus mostly on interracial dating and stuff like that. AMW stands for obviously, in case you didn't know, it stands for Asian Men, Black Women. And I believe I saw you in one of the AMBW groups, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
no, actually, I was in the blurred memes and blurred fan
Oh,
group.
all right then. Sorry about that. Okay, well, I'm gonna ask you then. What is your experience? Do you have any experience dating Asian men or outside of your race at all?
I do actually. Um, I have when I was younger. There was a man that I had dated. I believe, he was Taiwanese. His name was Neil Rabancho. It was really cool, and he got bullied a lot because the neighborhood that we lived in was a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood. Um, but yeah, he was super chill.
And so that's interesting that you say just that you guys grew up mostly in it was mostly a white neighborhood. Um, so when you say bully, like in terms of the prejudice or whatever that he felt, like can you describe a little bit more about that? Did you ever get bullied at all? Also growing up in that neighborhood?
Yeah, I did actually. San Diego. I'm not saying like there's not too many POCs, but when it comes towards neighborhood wise, you don't really see a lot of POCs up here in Mira Mesa or like Claremont. I mean, you do, but it's not as predominant as like University or any of those other areas where you see like mostly Hispanic, Black, Asian, like freaking Pacific Islanders. Like you don't get as much diversity when you're up there in those neighborhoods. And on top of that, there's like a lot of discrimination that happens in those neighborhoods too.
Hmm. That's very interesting and very kind of disturbing to hear too. I grew up in LA, or mostly in like Pasadena, but LA County, and so I never really, barring a couple of really bad experiences that really didn't last that long, I didn't really encounter much racism or overt racism, I guess, because I think Pasadena, where I went to school in high school, all through up until college, basically, it was mostly Caucasian, but it was mostly also Asian and then Hispanics, and then Black, and so there was a good mix. There was a good mix. Like I said, I didn't experience that many, instances of overt or subtle racism. But it is kind of disturbing to hear that you did growing up near San Diego, because San Diego, is I mean it's not that far from LA, and
It
it's
is.
sort of widely known. San Diego is a pretty popular place, so it's kind of surprising. This is the first time I'm ever hearing about anything like this over there. Um, so how did you? But okay, so yeah, that's unfortunate. So what sort of bonded you guys together? Like I know it was a while ago, but it wasn't just those incidents, right? Like you guys had things in common.
Yeah, we actually had things in common. Both nerds. We loved gaming. We definitely loved eating too. So that part really fell into for us. Just the fact that we had like more things in common from like our attitudes were pretty much similar. He was very chill. I was more of the like don't mess with him, otherwise you're gonna mess with the bull. You get the horns kind of person. And I'm the horns, and he was the bull. So yeah. He was really nice. Like he was a good person, and our relationship was pretty easy going through it. It was just on his end. His mother believed that African American girls were trouble. So
Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, if it brings you any comfort, I don't date Asian women, so don't worry. She's bad, bad. But it's not you, it's her. But yeah, no. Well, that sounds cool. I mean, everything except for the mother part. But so I don't mean to dwell on that. But I do want to ask one last question about like the racism that you guys experienced, and not just you, but also him as well. Um, so like, what kind of people were they? I mean, were they? I mean, I'm okay. I'm not trying to get canceled, but like, I'm assuming that they were pretty much all white, right? White people.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go figure. Were they like the golf playing country club type of white people, or like the
No.
surfing type of white people, or like white trash trailer trash type of people?
So I grew up in Point Loma. Neil was more towards Santee, or as I like to call Clanty, because of the Ku Klux Klan is very prominent there out here in San Diego. So when we went over to school over at Madison High School out here in Claremont, it was more so like the inner city kids that were trying to be hard, if that makes any sense. A lot of people used to say Claremont's hardcore because of the meth houses that you would find around there. There's a lot of drugs out there in Claremont, and most of the people out there, they're gang related, and it's kind of funny, but thinking back on it, like as kids, just the things that I would hear where it's like, oh, it's kind of weird saying like a black girl dated like an Asian guy, like it's something you wouldn't normally see. Um, Hearing that when you're younger, it's like, okay, am I doing something wrong? Because this doesn't feel wrong.
Right.
I was taught not to be superficial. It's always about like the person on the inside,
Yeah.
but for others, they really judged you on that. And even just
So
like people
who?
of my own culture, where they're like, "Oh, you're selling out because you're not dating an African American man," or they would tell him he's selling out because he's not dating an Asian woman. Like,
Mhm.
it's those kind of things that really kind of stigmatize the whole. I don't know. It puts the whole monolith on both cultures stigmas where they're like, oh, if you date anyone outside your race, it's completely bad. Or in my culture, where they're like, if you date anyone outside your race and you try to badmouth the same race, or not even badmouth, you just say like what your preferences are. And if they can't fit into that category, like for me, I remember there was an African American guy over at my school that had approached me while I was with Neil, and I was telling him, I like comics and all these other things. This was well enough before him and I were dating, but I was like, I like comics and stuff. And if you feel like you can keep up with me on that level, then maybe we can talk. But if not, then you're kind of wasting your time here, because I honestly wouldn't know what else to talk about. Um, he said immediately I was pretty much saying that he couldn't afford books. He just blew it all out of proportion, where he was like, you're saying that I can't afford books. You're saying that I'm pretty much need to whitewash myself because being nerdy is apparently whitewashing, I guess, your personality. Um, but yeah, they're pretty much just like, you're doing the wrong thing throughout like the whole relationship. It was
And
pretty
these
hot.
are not. I'm sorry to interrupt you. And these were all non-Asian people that were telling you this.
Non-Asian, so
And
it's
it
African
was.
American
No.
and mostly Caucasians.
Why
There were
were
many
Caucasian? I
people.
mean, yeah, I just have a question. Why was it mostly Caucasian people telling you, you're black and he's Asian? Why did they think they have any authority in that? They're not of either race, so why would they step up? I mean, I'm like, I've heard of this before from other black women, and it just boggles my mind as to why they have no stake in that relationship at all, like nothing.
As a POC, one thing I would like to explain, I'm not trying to sound like Bo Burnham, where it's like we're being policed, but all POCs are technically being policed, like with the way how we talk, the way how we dress, the way how we act, who we date, if it's outside our race. We're all being policed to try to keep it a certain way. And in all honesty, that kind of culture that we have when we're being policed, it's not even just from the Caucasians, it's from people of our own race believing it. It's like generations passed down from people not cutting off that edge of the tree, where it's like, this is pretty messed up. Like, I don't know their life. They can live it however way they want to. It's not really bothering me because I'm not in those shoes. But a lot of people, they don't really understand. They don't understand that not everyone's life is for their own entertainment or for like display, like playing Sims, like people, we have our own autonomous lives going on individually. Like it's it's something that I've kind of been trying to get like more people to talk about. Why black women, why black men, why people just not only in the African American race but in other races feel like it's okay to be like you need to live by these cultural standards that society has placed on you, these cultural labels, even if they don't apply to you. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I'm gonna ask this of everyone watching this video, and I don't know how many people are watching it live right now, but if you're watching the replay, I'd like to know if you have had similar experiences dating outside your race, whether it was with Asian men or non-black men, whatever, or even with with anybody. Basically, have you ever had? Have you? I can't say anything. He's right behind me. Have you ever had Oh, fuck it, I'll just say. Have you ever had white people come up to you and basically, tell you their thoughts and it was completely unnecessary and they thought this is not who you should date, this is how you should date? Like, have anybody, if you're watching this, tell me your thoughts. Have you had anything like that ever happen to you? I think I haven't. I have not, and I've gone outside my race pretty much like 90% of the time. I don't know. Thankfully, I've never had anything like that happen to me. I've had like a few whenever I was, but whenever I have been out with Asian women, it's usually butthurt white dudes that step up to me. But here's the thing: like I said, no one's ever approached me, or when I was out with a woman or whatever, or said anything or done anything. Like, thankfully, that's never happened, right? And I don't want that to happen, so that's awesome. But at the same time, like, I've seen like the way that people react, like through their facial expressions and body language. It's usually white people that like make a big deal about this kind of shit, especially like I said before, when I'm out with the Asian girl, it's like, because we all know how much fucking like white dudes fucking fetishize the fuck out of women of color, especially Asian women. So I mean, like you're not even Asian, but of course they feel possessive over that. I would even venture to say that some white men feel possessive over black women too. I was out with this. She turned out to be a terrible person anyway, but I went on this date, long distance date, with this chick that I was kind of basically, for lack of a better word, in a relationship with. We were talking for a few months. We went out and flew out there to meet her, and her boss, who is Caucasian, called her on her trip, and she was technically on vacation with me. And it was just like, if your boss ever called you when you were on vacation, you could go to HR and get that motherfucker fired, because that's unprofessional. You could sue the company. You could, I don't know if you could sue, but you can go to HR and file a complaint. And this dude is white, what I mean, he's just. So I've had experiences kind of like that, but not overtly like that. Not to hate on white people, but no, honestly, like, why not? Like, if white people need to be called out on their shit. So
I
I don't
respect
really.
everyone equally. I just feel like there's certain lanes that we should all stay in, and there's when it comes towards culture and everything. I'm not saying just because it's 2021, because I've seen now there's more and more people, like it's like our cultures are mashing more so together, and on top of the mashing that's coming up together, with the Black Lives Matters, Asian Lives Matters, All Lives Matter. I don't believe in all lives matter. All lives do, in fact, matter. But for each fight, Black Lives Matter, with the people follow you throughout the grocery store, Asian Lives Matter, where people are saying that you brought over the coronavirus when that's not true. Like each race have their own things going on. So to say all lives matter, to say that we're all generally going through the same thing when it's different levels and different things, I think that's disrespectful.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And I mean, I like, honestly, not to point the finger at anyone, but like, we all know, like, who's Black Lives Matter wouldn't happen if a certain type of people weren't doing what they were doing. Let's just be honest. And I've had this theory. I'm gonna let you go, unfortunately, but no, but I really do enjoy this talk. The thing about this, I want to say this before we go, is that I've had this theory about resolving the issue or preventing the issue of black people getting murdered by the police. I honestly say, you know what? Like, just look at the bigger problems. It's not a police problem; it's a white cop problem. Because you don't have black cops killing black people. You don't have brown cops or Asian cops killing black people. It's white cops. Just kick them off the fucking force, strip them a badge, give them what you call what is that word when someone gets fired? Oh fuck, I don't know, unemployment, so
Terminated?
whatever it's called, huh? Yeah, yeah.
Terminated?
Oh yeah. Well, no. It's something like when someone gets fired, they receive It's not unemployment. Fuck, I don't remember the name. If you guys know in the chat, let me know. But no. But basically, yeah. Point being, just don't allow white people on the force. You know, and I mean, like, it sounds like an extreme solution, but when you think about it, it's a harmless solution because you're not hurting and killing anyone. You know what I mean? You're just not allowing white people to become cops. And if we did that, maybe let's try it out for like a couple months, maybe even like half a year. You know, if no people get murdered, right, or suffocated, or shot, or whatever, or someone cops breaking into their house and killing them. Now, if that doesn't happen, then I was right. You know, and that's exactly. Of course, that would never fucking happen, never in a million years, because who. I mean, it just wouldn't. But that would be my solution. I mean, look, you can defund the police all you want. That's not going to stop a racist cop, from going out, getting a gun, and literally, or you're not even using a gun, but like sitting on someone, suffocating them. Like
There needs
what?
to be better training. Something that I really do believe in, because one of my friends who's Asian went on to become a sheriff, and another one of my friends ended up working for the San Diego Police Department. And one thing that I used to do when I was younger, and even now, if one of my friends have longer hair than me and they ask me to braid it, I will sit down and braid it no matter where I'm at. And there was a time when I was over in La Mesa and I was braiding one of my friend's hair, and a cop asked us if I was like a prostitute, if he was a pimp, because in their own guidelines, he'd said it. If you see a woman braiding a man's hair, that's typically like him asserting dominance over her, and it translates over to as prostitution. That's something that's still being taught.
First of all,
So
what the fuck?
yeah, this
It's
is something.
literally.
There needs to be more rules and guidelines, and just more people talking to people of urban backgrounds, and even those who aren't of urban backgrounds, to be able to like, we got to get over this hurdle because it's too much. Like, it's literally too much.
I mean, I'll let you go, but I just have to say one thing. Like, literally, this whole BLM thing, and what you're describing, it seems to really only happen mostly in America. I feel like maybe all POCs, including Asian people, should just move to Canada or go overseas or something, and just what I mean. Just let racist red state America or whatever. Sorry, I'm not trying to get political, whatever. But we all know who's doing it. Red state red state Americans, stay here. That's it. Just because like I said, look, this shit is not going to go away. Racism is not going to go away, but you can try to filter out the racism by literally barring racist people. And I'm going to say it. I don't care if YouTube tries to strike me down. Racist white cops, because they're the only motherfuckers literally doing it. If you bar, it's like everything else. Just filter out the crap. Just don't let certain people in. Sure, you get probably a shit toad of. You probably get like a shitload of like lawsuits on your hands. Oh, let's face it. Would you rather have people suing you or people murdering innocent people out there? You know what I mean? I mean, the choice is yours. Like, I'm just saying, that's
I think it would
extreme
be
solutions.
easier.
And
It would be easier if they actually just taught if they actually just taught people about like racial backgrounds and what actually happened in history. Because even over in Canada, there was a indigenous woman who's been introducing people to, I believe it's called throat singing. I can't remember the band, not the band, but the tribe's name by heart. Believe it's the Inuit. Yeah, and dude, like, the fact that she was taught one thing, we're all taught one thing in school, history. But when you go out and you actually hear about it through like the elders, like through the elders' voices and everything, just like over in Canada with the women within the Inuit tribe, it's not the same. There's going to be so much omitted, so much taken out. I didn't even realize African Americans built the White House, but wasn't even allowed in it until I took an African study class, like in college. Like, there's so many things that I didn't learn until I had to like actually break out, and it's something that needs to be taught because these kids, they're going to grow up sheltered, and the last thing that you want to do, especially in a time where Europeanistic society, like Europeanistic standards of beauty, education, all that, like, it's on a high. The
yeah,
dysphoria is high for us. Like, we need to teach our kids to practice Sankofa, which is, in order to know where you're going, you need to know where you come from, but the
mhm.
honest way.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, we have to be honest with them with history and everything.
oh no, 100%, and that's why in America at least. like slavery is literally only maybe like a page and a half. So that's and then hear nothing about the slavery Chinese being brought over, to work on the fucking railroads. Everyone thinks that Chinese did it voluntarily. No,
Nope.
it's
There
not the
was
case.
internment camps.
Yeah, and so that's a fucking problem. Basically, racism will never go away, but I believe that the only way to deal with it properly is just to filter it out. It's literally, and you can't listen. People have it all wrong. It's not about mindsets. It's about people who have the mindsets. It's just like I'm saying, oh, guns don't kill people. People kill people. Well, you know what? Racism, whether you want to argue or not, whether it's inherent or it can be changed, it can't be changed. And when you give a racist person, authority like a gun and a badge, they're gonna abuse that and they're gonna keep killing people and they're gonna keep getting away with it. You know what I mean? Not in the sense that like they won't serve time, but it's just racism thrives when you allow it to fucking exist, and you're allowing it to exist by allowing white people to be cops. And there I said, I don't care. You know what? I'm not actually. I didn't get this opinion on my own. My friend, like one of my very good friends. I don't have many friends. I have probably like less than I can count on my hand, but two of them are white, and two of them are the best people I've ever met in my life. One of them told me, "Hey man, this is bullshit. The only way to deal with it is just not allow white people to be cops." And I was like, I thought about it. I was like, dude, you're fucking right. That's literally it. I mean, it's extreme, but so is going out there and killing people. That's also extreme.
That's
So
true.
extreme measures call for extreme solutions. I'm sorry. I don't care. If you're white and you're watching this video, I'm not necessarily targeting you, but I am targeting people of racist mindsets. In this instance, racist white cops. So because again, you don't see black cops doing it. You don't see Asian cops doing it. You don't see
Nope.
Hispanic cops, anything like that. It's all white cops, and people need to start waking up to that fact. They don't want to say that because we live in a PC sensitive culture,
Hmm.
you know. But I mean, like white people are not the victims. White people are never the victims. I can count again so many fucking times where white people have been, caused me more problems in my life, and I'm not black. I'm Asian, but I don't have to be black because white again, you know what I mean? Like white people are not the only ones who have to go through racist things. I've gone through more overt and more subtle acts of racism, like being denied job interviews. You know what I mean? When this little fucking vanilla fuck comes out of college and is hired and with no experience, even though I have more experience or more skills than they do. And so that's just like I said, I could go on forever. But I'm just trying to say, like Asian people, like come on, wake up. We need all people of color to support each other. You know what I mean? Like I
Exactly.
was talking to Gigi, and she's telling me, as she and her Asian friend, or sorry, no, her ex, or yeah, ex
He's made.
boyfriend, yeah, exactly, experience more acts of racism together, which is surprising again. But the more you explain to me, the more it makes sense. So I'm just saying, like Asian people need to stop being so quiet about this kind of stuff, and need to start sticking up for themselves. Very important, and also sticking up for each other. You know what I mean? Um,
Another thing we should also do is share our experiences so that
mhm.
people don't, so that we don't have the all lives matter people.
Yeah, no, exactly,
Because our
exactly.
experiences, what you go through as an Asian man, what I go through as a black woman, what Neil went through as an Asian man too, like it's all different.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, I completely agree. Well, Gigi, I could talk to you a lot about this, but unfortunately, I'm running out of time. I do appreciate it, but before I let you go, if people want to get a hold of you or follow you on social media, do you have social media you'd like to promote?
Oh, sure. Follow me on Instagram, Giodius, Giodious, Justice Stone Honey Badger.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Gigi. You seem like a very interesting person, and I hope you meet another Asian guy someday soon if you're not single already. So, or anyone really, racism, but whatever.
Thank you.
Anyway, all right. Well, take care, and we'll talk to you later.